I was worked up last night, and I want to ask our next guest about it. Steve Scalise, the majority floor leader of the United States House of Representatives from the great state of Louisiana. Congressman Scalise, are you there? I think we have him on the phone here. I assume you've been watching the news and reacting to this stuff going on in Minneapolis. What's on your mind about it today, sir?
Yeah, Scott, a lot. And, one is, you don't want to see anybody injured, but this started when the crazy lunatics on the left decided they were going to start targeting ICE agents. And this has been going on for months and months. I mean, we're seeing attacks against ICE agents up over 1,000%. These are people going after law enforcement, and many of them are being encouraged by left-wing politicians. You see Tim Walsh, you talked about what he said about just trying to compare our law enforcement officers to Gestapo. This has to stop. They are inflaming this kind of left-wing violence against law enforcement. First, they tried to defund the police. Now they're going after them. I mean, look, we're going to get the facts, and there's going to be an investigation. But we know for a fact that time and time again, we've seen people attacking ICE officers for doing their job. They're trying to secure America's border and our interior from criminals. We've had American citizens murdered by people here illegally. How many times do you have to see it? We passed laws, the Lake and Riley Act, other bills, because of the murders that have happened, and yet there are citizens today that are going and attacking law enforcement for doing their jobs, carrying out the laws of this land.
Yeah, what sort of strikes me as weird about all this is that we haven't passed any new immigration laws since Donald Trump became the president. These laws have been on the books for a long time. And Democrats, instead of trying to change the laws, I guess because they can't, because we're in the majority, they lost the election, they've just decided to become political vigilantes. Well, we're not going to change the laws. We're just going to try to prevent laws from being enforced. Is this the first time in your political career you've seen anything like this, where people are essentially taking matters into their own hands? You now even have Senator Tina Smith from across the Capitol there from you saying ICE and the federal government needs to get out of Minnesota. It's like they want to exist in a state of secession where the federal laws don't apply to people in Minnesota. It's crazy.
Yeah, you hear it. It's like when these nutty left-wing celebrities say, oh, gee whiz, if Trump wins, we're going to move to another country. If you hate America so much, then go move to that other country. And what is that country, by the way? Are they going to move to Moscow because they love Russia so much? They want socialism. They want Marxism. Go to China, where you don't have the same kind of rights you have in the United States of America. But, I mean, it seems like every day they want to attack America, attack law enforcement, who are, like you said, carrying out the laws of this land. Democrats had the House, Senate, and White House just 4 years ago. They didn't try to change any of these laws. They opened up the border illegally. They literally ignored existing law. Joe Biden ignored law when he said, come on into America illegally, and millions of people took him up. And it wasn't a lot of great people. It was a lot of criminals, a lot of bad people. You had countries releasing their criminals from jails, and then we had murders shooting up. We had drugs coming into this country. The cartels of Mexico had operational control of America's southern border. Trump got control of all that. And I would argue, by the way, Scott, that's one of the main reasons Donald Trump got elected. Border security was the number one issue. I went all around this country, including traveling with President Trump in some swing states. And everywhere we went, President Trump, number one, he said, I'm going to secure the border. And that got the biggest applause. He said a lot of other things, too, about what he's going to do to reverse the damage Joe Biden did to so many other things, to our economy, rules and regulations, energy prices soaring, housing costs soaring, food costs soaring. All of those things happened under Joe Biden. And by the way, because of Obamacare, you're still seeing skyrocketing health care costs, all because of Democrat left-wing policies. And Donald Trump ran to fix all of it, and he's working on it. There's a lot more work to do, by the way, and everything the Democrats do is obstruct. They vote no on everything. They encourage people to go and attack law enforcement. You're seeing the fraud in Minnesota. We didn't even talk about that. You're talking about Minnesota. Yesterday started with a hearing in Congress with some whistleblowers and state legislators talking about billions of your tax dollars stolen by Somalis and others in Minnesota because the governor of the state, Tim Walz, looked the other way when all this fraud was going on. It was going on for years and years, stealing your hard-earned money. And what is the Democrat response? They want to raise your taxes. The Mandami wing of the party that's running this country now, on the Democrat side, that say, hey, everything should be free. Well, of course, they're getting all that money from you. If you work for a living, you're the guy providing the free stuff to the people that want to come here illegally and ignore our laws and attack our law enforcement. It's time for this country to get back to rule of law. Donald Trump was elected to do that. He's carrying that out. Our brave men and women in law enforcement, by the way, are part of doing that job, and they're under attack every day, and it's got to stop.
Congressman, we got about 30 seconds before we need to go to a break. I do want to ask you about the attacks on ICE agents. I know a few months ago there were some legislative proposals floating around to dramatically increase the penalties on people who attack federal law enforcement. Is that still floating around? Is that something we're going to see pop up this year?
There's still bills moving through committees to help give stronger protection to our law enforcement, obviously federal law enforcement officers who have been under attack. One of the things we put in the Working Families Tax Cut, the big, beautiful bill, is a bonus, a $10,000 bonus to our ICE officers who are under attack. We gave a pay raise to our military, our men and women in uniform, who are protecting us from domestic and terrorism threats all around the world. You're seeing that those threats come to America sometimes, but the goal is to keep it out of our country and to go after the bad guys where they are so they don't come here. But it takes a full effort, and I'm glad that the Trump administration has respected law enforcement after years of them being put under attack and, frankly, being targeted as the bad guys by the left wing.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.